said a lot of words that we can't take back, and I tried to put us first, but we came out last. The truth is, I think that this is deeper than us. Maybe we just love the idea of being in love. Swimming in troubled waters, but I'm drowning in the lies. I'm searching for the truth, all I found is all the miles. Our love was made of glass, I'm trying to pick up every piece. Waving a white flag, I just need a little peace. First you hate me, then you love me, then you hate me more. Though I gave you lots of ammunition, guess our love was war. We keep breaking up, then making up, and that's why we are going around in circles like we're stuck in a revolving door. It's safe to say I lost trust, now my walls up. Now when you're ringing me, I never pick the calls up. We had everything, how did this even start? Now the only thing that we have in common is we're apart. Down.
I'm lost.
You talking there? Welcome back everyone. It's Monday morning, I think. It's been an awesome weekend at Matsuri. We're just going to recap a few things, talk about what went on with the cars, BJ's car, my car, Reese's cars, the Reese's. With this one, we had a few little teething issues. So the main one you'll see in the video is the flaming of the engine bay. So power steer line I had zip tied to the cooler piping had dropped off and dropped the power steer return line from the cooler straight onto the turbo header, and lots of smoke come up, and it was fine. I was like, oh, there's a little bit of smoke, then lots of smoke. I was like, oh, I better head back. And as I started turning around, obviously squirted more power steering fluid out and then created the big fire. So you'll see that. Other than that, everything else sort of went good. Put a few extra marks on the back. Oh yeah, one other problem we had was the fuel surge tank. I was in a rush last week getting everyone's cars done and forgot to take the fuel reg out of the stock fuel sender unit. And so instead of the surge tank just being a 0 PSI system and just returning the fuel to the tank, it was running at about 60 PSI, which caused it to burst with a little pinhole. It wasn't nothing major. So we wire brushed that up and put some kneaded on it and took the fuel reg out of the sender unit and didn't have a drama with it again. That fixed that problem. Other than that, she was pretty well forced, was it? Yeah. It was going well until Saturday night, where it was towards the end of the night and all the boys were on the wall, smashing the wall, telling me to freaking get up it. And obviously my inner ego come out and just held it on limiter for a little bit too long. And I think I may have hurt the engine. Oh, I think I've definitely hurt the engine. But as you will see, she still starts, runs, drives. Nothing major, but I pulled the dipstick and I can see metallic in there, so probably worst case scenario, I think like a bearing or something. But this motor's copped nothing but a thrashing for the last 3 years, so I'm not angry with it whatsoever. If it made it through Matsuri, I was planning to pull it out and rebuild it anyway. Now I just have to definitely do it. So I'm gonna pull it out, chuck a new set of bearings in it, make sure everything's good. If I have to, get the crank finished. If I do have the spare money at the time, which I probably don't think I will for this thing, I will chuck a set of rods and pistons in it. If not, I'll just factory rebuild it, put some race bearings back in it again. And I do have a set of ported heads there, so 241 ported heads, I'll chuck them in. Valve springs are good in this thing anyway. So just change it. So I got pain in the ass neighbours, freaking noisy pricks, and then LS's. You done? Yeah. So yeah, I'll rebuild it. Put a few little extra shiny parts I've got sitting on the bench there in, and probably turn it up a little bit more. And yeah, so we'll show you the fun that we had by the damage that we left on the car. So as you would have seen last Matsuri, we already had a few scuff marks. but we were throwing it in a lot harder and a lot faster on short track. So she's got a nice curvy bum now, just the way we like it. And I put a telltale sign here, one of BJ's RTT stickers, to see what would be left of it, and then it's just a T now, which is good. Got me tail light, quite disappointed about that. Genuine SS tail light, but that can be replaced. It was more fun doing that than what it is going to be replacing it anyway, so that's what the sticker should look like. And obviously this side never really seen much love because it was just on short track. You don't really hit that side of the wall. If you do, you can risk big damage, as you'll see on BJ's car, because it gets really slick within about a metre of the wall because no one goes over there. So all the rubber and oil and coolant and everything just sits there. But yeah, other than that, it was an awesome weekend. Let's go have a look at one of the other boys' cars. So with this beauty, as you can see, she's well loved. Only driven to church on Sundays and Sunday mass. BJ was getting his confidence up by Sunday afternoon, midday, about midday. He kind of hit the wall a bit hard with the back.
Fatality.
Causing the front end to do the flicking around. Cooler piping, eBay cooler piping. As you know, we love our eBay parts. Smashed him back into the rad support. This part's fine, this part not so much. Probably can't really see it, but it's put a little puncture wound in the back here. So a little bit of liquid steel, fixed her right up. As for here, she's all good, just pulled it back out. BJ burnt the shit out of his hands doing it. BMW wheel survived, a little bit of gravel rash. Looks like he let his missus drive it. The bolt-on spacers were fine, they all survived. Nothing got bent in the front end. So a little bit of liquid steel back on there and she was good to go again. Everything else was fine. We do have some exciting footage of what happened here. So as you've seen this ute before, it normally has a hard lid. The hard lid's now in the bin because it nearly took him and his missus' head off as it flipped up doing 360 and went straight through the back window, smashed all that, and then overtook him, and he was wondering what the hell was overtaking him because he'd just spun out. It wasn't another car. I'll tell him that now. As you can see, our perfect LS House sign, sticker, not sticker, paint, has survived pretty well. Smoothed out the rear quarters. He felt like Holden didn't quite do a good job with the body lines, so he changed them a bit and Q up.
Bit of the old Smith's crinkle cut chips.
Yep. He was running the wall the majority of the day. You'll see in a few clips of clipping the wall. No tail lights anymore, they're both gone. But it's actually relatively good, apart from the fact that the tailgate just does not open anymore. So, but he's gonna come up with a good idea for lights on the back. We'll get to that later. This side, like I said, doesn't really normally cop too much love at short track, but BJ decided to be different from the crowd and literally clutch kicked it into the wall. He was nowhere near it, didn't have to hit it, but he felt that he needed to and smashed the crap out of it.
Did anyone get footage of that?
No, I was in the car when he done it and it was freaking hilarious. But yeah, these sixes went bloody awesome. I am so happy with them. They literally copped a thrashing all weekend. I know for a fact BJ sat on limiter the whole weekend. This, for some reason, I think it's turned itself down. It was running about 13, 15 PSI. I think we were making around 11 PSI most of the weekend. Perfect air fuels. So he just kept sending it and it loved every minute of it. He'd done a few jumps out on the big track and I think he cooked the power steer pump. Still works and everything, he's still drifting towards the end of Sunday. But apart from like the power steer pump, the tonner cover ripping itself off and then cool piping, this thing was just flawless all weekend. Even the jet rag survived, which I don't know how.
Noisy, but it survived.
Yeah, it's whining a bit.
See that in a couple of clips.
Yeah. But yeah, so happy with these cars. Completely tuned by me, completely built by me, and not one mechanical issue whatsoever with the car. So I am happy as a pig in crap. Same with Reese's car. It's not here right now, so we can't really show you.
Reese's issue was his fault.
Oh yeah, I can't show you the car, but he put a few extra marks on it. But the only issue we had with Reese's car was the I guess you would just call it the plunger inside the wastegate, the eBay wastegate that I told him not to buy because it was $20 cheaper than the one I told him to buy. He ended up buying, and it completely exploded. So he went from running, I think 10 pounds of boost on that one to none because there was no wastegate left. Actually, I can show you it. I've got it. So, be warned guys, if you have this style of wastegate, which is a copy of, I think it's sort of a copy of a Turbo Smart. It's got the same base, but just everything's different on top. I kid you not, that was after about an hour of drifting, I'm pretty sure, if that. Just completely disassembled itself from this world and turned to dust. Jacko, who you might have seen in the big clips, real big guy, he was, when we were running it in the pit, he saw sparkles coming out the wastegate when I was revving it after touching up the tune a bit more, and he's like, he noticed the sparkles. He said something to me. It being as silly as it sounded, I sort of just laughed at him. I was like, yeah, and then we actually discovered that the wastegate was just open because it sounded like it had an exhaust leak, so we started looking for that and then found that there was nothing left in this.
And all the noise was just coming straight out the gate 24/7.
Yeah, so imagine how bad that sounded. So we wanted to fix that issue real fast. So unfortunately Reese had to go to Ripley, which is, I don't know, half an hour, 45 from where we were at Queensland Raceway, and pick up a brand new 40mm Turbo Smart wastegate, and he put that on, and not an issue all weekend after that. I think he just kept changing tyres and putting fuel in it, and that's all he did. He flogged it. Him and BJ were out there having fun, as you'll see in videos, on the big track. Both still getting used to their track cars. I think they're both only 2 or 3 track days in each, so they're still getting the hang of it. Both on relatively new builds, so Reese not driven a turbo car on the track yet, BJ totally different suspension, wheels, tyres, all the usual stuff that you normally get comfortable with was different, so both relearning their cars again. They done well. Once we fix this thing, there'll be a bit of a build series coming up on this, of where we strip down the motor, see what went wrong, fix it hopefully. Hopefully we don't have to buy too much for it because I don't really want to spend money on it. It's sort of just supposed to be a cheap drift car. Obviously it doesn't look cheap, but it's stuff I already had sort of sitting there. What else was there? That's all the drift cars, all the damage. They've got a lot of footage to watch.
That's pretty much it. Oh, this debeated once.
Oh yeah. I don't think I caught it on camera, but I threw it sideways on turn 2. I'm not sure what speed. I was in 3rd gear, pinned, flicked from one way to the other, dropped the tyre, debeated the tyre, so I had to drive from the very back of the track on the grass all the way back to pits and debeated the tyre, but other than that, it was bloody awesome. What else we got there? Down in there.
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pretty flawless week. I'm still going.